All right, welcome back to One True Podcast. With me, as always, is my good friend John Werner. Johnny, how are you?
Hi, Brice. We got somebody on here older than me.
Yes, that's
which
true.
is hard to do.
That's true. Our good friends, Kirk Bohls and Cedric Golden. Ced is not older than you. Kirk is, but and
Barely.
They call him the Duck, and I was thinking about this. And I think Ced will like this. You remember White Men Can't Jump?
That is my favorite basketball
Love
movie.
it. The team that Woody and Wesley played were the King and Duck. Ced and Kirk, they could be the King and the Duck. How about that?
I'll take it, but Hoosiers is the best basketball movie. Come on. You got to go with Hoosiers.
I got a bone to pick their Duck.
Oh, Hoosiers?
At the end of that movie, they're winning, and they're playing against a bunch of black guys.
Right.
And those black guys were horrible. Where did they find those brothers? Couldn't jump, couldn't defend, Chitwood just firing away.
They only had, what was it, South Bend?
Those were not American black men that they beat.
It's true story. White men can't jump.
Black men even playing basketball in America in the 50s.
Oh, my God. Look in the history book. See what I have to deal with?
It's hard to beat that picket fence.
Don't let the
Nevertheless, it's good to have you guys with us for sure. We didn't have you last week when it was a Thanksgiving week. I think we were all probably a little under the gun, but anyway, good to have y'all, and let's dive into some football. So guys, just as we expected back in the preseason, we got K-State and TCU playing for the Big 12 championship this week. That was obviously a little bit of sarcasm. I didn't pick them. So the Frogs back in October scored 21 the second half to beat K-State 38-28. So how do you guys see this round 2 playing out?
Go ahead, Doug.
Yeah, I picked Oklahoma. Why are you asking me? I don't know what the hell's going on. I mean, TCU, what a story. I mean, what were they picked? 7th, right, guys?
Yeah.
7th in the preseason. I think I think I may have had Oklahoma, Baylor in the championship game. No way would I look at K-State or TCU. Although TCU, I think, had 18 starters coming back, the most in the league. Mm-hmm. And I know Ced and I did a podcast in August, and I said, I don't know what to expect from these. A lot of experience. And it seemed like that's the key, especially in basketball, where you only need 7 or 8 guys. If everybody wants to be old in basketball, and TCU was old. So, I mean, what a magical journey. I hope TCU continues it, for the good of the Big 12 myself. And I kind of think they will, because it's a pseudo home game. And I just think they're better than K-State, which is a really good team. Ced, what you got?
First thing, I just remember how excited we were at Jerry World with another football season. Man, it went fast for me. I can't believe that we're already here.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like July was that long ago. And none of us had this happening. I'm sure I had Oklahoma. I'd have to go back. I'm sure I had Oklahoma winning this conference, probably over
Oklahoma State, probably.
Maybe Oklahoma State, or maybe I had one of the Oklahomas winning it, but it's been so bad that maybe I blocked it out of my memory. But it's a feel-good story. Sonny Dykes should be the national coach of the year.
Right.
He's done amazing things. Maybe he should even be the coach at Texas, because the Duck wrote that was in the works, and it didn't work out. And maybe TCU, maybe Texas's choice of Sark was the blessing that TCU needed. So I don't think that K-State's going to beat them. I think TCU's going to figure it out. That's what they've been doing all year, figuring it out, figuring out how to win. And so I would hate to see them lose and have the Big 12 not be in the CFP.
Yeah.
This is a big PR moment. This is a big credibility moment for the Big 12 as they slowly move on from Texas. and Oklahoma. They can have a team in the CFP and maybe even get a win. Who knows? Once you're in the tournament, who knows? Then that's gonna help with recruiting and marketing and merchandising and overall credibility moving forward.
No doubt, no doubt. Johnny?
Yeah, I wouldn't bet against TCU right now. They've just made the plays when they've had to. They've had some really good fourth quarter rallies. They had the remarkable win over Baylor, 40-yard field goal.
Incredible.
Fire drill. That was
Fire
a
drill.
fire drill.
It was
Clock
so
running,
unnecessary,
he
though.
kicks it with 3 seconds left, goes over, his time expires. Just an amazing play. At the same time, though, K-State, if they play like they did against Baylor, and they dominated that game 31-3, just took control from the start, I would give them a chance for an upset if they played like that. I just think so many good things have been going for TCU. They just seem to have the karma right now. And I'm taking TCU.
I assume Will Howard's starting, isn't he?
Yeah,
I believe so.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? The two teams in the Big 12 title game, neither started the season as the starting quarterback.
no
And they
doubt.
still made it to Arlington. That's impressive.
Yeah, and Max Duggan's getting Heisman talk. So
He deserves it.
yeah,
He
He
should.
deserves
yeah,
it.
I'm a Heisman voter. I will give him heavy consideration.
yeah. Me
Mm,
too. Me
sure.
too.
Yeah.
So you guys hit on it. Said it would, it'd be a shame if TCU lost and got left out of the CFP. I've said all along that the only way TCU is getting in is if they're undefeated. They do not have the brand name of a USC or an Alabama or an Ohio State. Ohio State would be sitting there with one loss because they're playing air this week. So what do you guys think? If K-State does pull off that win, can the Frogs still get in?
Who's number 5? Who's number 5 in the CFP right now?
It's Ohio State.
It's Ohio State. I mean, they're just sitting there lurking like the big bad wolf. Here comes Little Red Riding Hood with her TCU basket of cookies, and Ohio State's the big bad wolf. And it's just, it'll be interesting because K-State, I don't know where they are in the CFP standings. They've been 10. So
Decent.
if they even lose to K-State, a team they'd already beaten, no real shame in that. But Ohio State lost by 20 at home to Michigan. They got obliterated. So to me, I don't know about you three, but I think TCU belongs in the CFP, win or lose on Saturday. But I think lose, and they'll be out, and the Buckeyes will be the TV draw, and they'll be sexy and glamorous, and they'll screw TCU once more.
Yeah. In
Bring
fact, the
on-
Big 12 tweeted out that their championship game is the only one between two top 10 teams this week.
Yeah.
Smart. That is
Exactly.
good PR. That's
Yeah.
so smart.
Smart.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it won't move any needle.
Right.
The CFP committee don't give a flying
Hmm.
about what the Big 12's data says. The Blue Bloods run college football.
Yeah.
They do. And when they screwed them in 2014, I wrote they never would have did that to Texas.
Hmm.
Never would have did that to Oklahoma, because those are the big dogs. And when the big dogs are barking, and the big dogs bring more credibility, more money, more political power, TCU doesn't bring that. The only thing that TCU has in his pocket is an unbeaten record. As long as TCU is unbeaten, as long as that table remains run, they're going to be in there. There ain't no way
Right.
they're going to move Ohio State ahead of TCU. TCU, if TCU wins 3-2, TCU should still be that
Yeah.
number 14 minimum.
And guess what? Guess what? The committee's meeting in Irving, 6 miles from where TCU played.
Right. Right.
I tell you, it'd be shameful if TCU gets.
There would be a plague of frogs coming
Plague,
over on the
plague.
committee.
I like it. Good word, plague. Bryce. I like it.
John, what do you say?
Yeah, I agree with those guys. I think even if TCU loses a close game, I think they still should be in, but I'm not so sure they would be.
They
just
won't.
because of the brand name deal, like Ced and Kirk mentioned, and that would be just a real shame. And
Mhm.
obviously it'd be a great thing for the Big 12, for somebody other than Oklahoma to make the CFP. So yeah, I sure hope they win.
They
I
probably
think
even consider Alabama
Yep.
2-loss Alabama in the room.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. They're
Yeah.
still they're if anybody's getting in with 2 losses, it's gonna be them.
And
For
an
sure.
Alabama that probably could have 3 losses if Texas had closed.
Right? That's a good point. Which is a great segue to my next question. So the teams that we cover are nowhere near the CFP. So Texas improved to 8-4. They beat Baylor last week, 38-27. We were all there. So it's been kind of an erratic second season, to say the least, for Steve Sarkisian. Guys, what is just you have the pulse of this team, this program. What is kind of the general feeling in Austin right now about Sark, and does he need to make another jump next year to kind of avoid joining all those guys, Tom Herman and the others that have come through there since Mac Brown?
Come on, they only pay the guy $6.5 million, Brice. What do you want? I mean, they're going to a bowl game for
Right.
I mean, I just don't get the media how harsh they are demanding. The CFP's got a bias against 4 loss teams. Otherwise, Texas would be in that chase. But yeah, Josh. They made improvement this year. 8 wins, big improvement. I counted since 09, the 13 season since 09. They've won 8 games, only 6 times. And I think they've won 9, I think twice, 2 or 3 times. So he's got a chance to win 9 when he goes to the bowl game. But yeah, I wouldn't even say modest improvement. When you go 5-7, 8-4 is a big improvement. But like Ced mentioned against Alabama, there was expectations for more than that. They are paying him $6.5 million to win 8 games and go to the Alamo Bowl. But the defense, they passed the eyeball test in most cases. The passing game really dropped off, and that's his calling in trade. He's an offensive wizard, and I don't know, Ced, if you'd agree with him or not, the passing game may have been the worst part of this team.
Absolutely. They just couldn't connect. Quinn Ewers is a bigger name than Game right now, and he had a couple moments, but that's not going to cut it moving forward. Now, Sark, we like Sark. He's pretty engaging. He gives us thoughtful answers to our questions. He doesn't dodge. He's a straight shooter. But what he did this year, while a big improvement, isn't enough for this title-starved fan base. They haven't won 10 games in a regular season since they got to the 09 championship game.
Wow.
That's a long time for them.
That is.
Yeah.
They did go 10-4 in 2018 when they beat Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. But as far as regular seasons, they haven't won double digits. Mac Brown had 9 straight seasons of 10 wins plus. And in that span, he won a championship and played for another. They're not going to have another Mac Brown. And Duck and I had this conversation the other night. And Duck asked me if I thought he was the guy. I'm skeptical because, first of all, they've got only a couple of years left in the Big 12, and then the heat turned up.
Yeah.
So if he's the guy, he better be the guy in these next 2 years, or it's just going to get rougher and rougher and rougher. So I'm while I like him, I'm not sure that this is the second coming of Mac Brown. The Mac Brown didn't start. What is he? 13-11 in his first 24 games. That's very pedestrian.
Yeah.
I mean, 13 wins in 2 seasons, and he's pocketed $13 million. That's $1 million per win.
And here's
Wins
Sonny
have
Dykes.
gotten really, really expensive.
Right.
And Sonny Dykes was winning in year 1.
Right,
Wins in year 2 after a COVID year. I
Sonny
mean,
Dykes wins 12 in 1 season, and it's taken Sark 2 seasons to win 13.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. That's all you
Hey,
got.
I would like to throw in that Matt Rule's making $9 million a year. So Sark is a bargain. So you guys quit bagging on him.
Do you think that
We
you think-
love Dustin Matt Rule.
oh yeah.
Yeah, he was
I
great.
speak for my brother Kirk.
Why did
We
he do that?
love-
Why did he go to Nebraska?
We thought that was a horrific decision by him.
Mm.
Nebraska is not a sleeping giant. It's a dead giant. That giant is not going to wake up. You're not going to get kids to Lincoln. You're just not. Even Matt Rule with the pulpit and the great suits. He's a great leader of young men, but that is a nowhere job. I wished Auburn had taken him. I really do. But good Lord, Nebraska, that's a bad job.
Yeah, we'll see.
People
We'll
in
see.
Colorado think Nebraska's a bad job.
They're both bad jobs.
That's the point.
Hey, I don't think Matt had a shaky enough past to coach at Auburn.
Wow. Man, if he had just dialed up a couple of prostitutes, he probably
Oh
would've-
man.
Look out.
Do you think that Jimbo Fisher and Sark got together before the year and Jimbo was like, all right, you go 8-4 this year, I'll go 5-7, and we'll both cash our checks, man. What do you say?
Oh my God.
Like,
That's
we made it a
dumpster
bank. That's for, and if, Texas plays Alabama again next year at Tuscaloosa, if you
Yikes.
lose that one and you lose big, then he'll be right back on that hot seat and people go, oh God, we're getting closer to the SEC and we're getting drilled by, Alabama on the road. So they're never far from the hot seat, either one of them. Jimbo especially. I think Jimbo's probably got to win 8 or 9 next year. Otherwise they'll scrape up 86 million in the couch cushions and they can make a change.
Why didn't we become college coaches? What are we doing here?
Right.
What are we doing here?
You get paid that much to lose.
You know what my buyout is at the Statesman? Exactly. That's what it is. That's what my buyout is.
You got a buyout?
No, I don't.
So as for Baylor, the team that John and I cover, so it's also been it's very disappointing season for the Bears. Dave Aranda's team won the Big 12 last year, went into this season as the preseason favorite, at least, by the media. That was the first time ever, actually, that had happened. Obviously, a lot of really good Baylor players moved on to the NFL, Terrell Bernard, Jalen Petrie, others. But
Big Bravion Roy, who had an interception last week.
yeah, big man interception. 99. Yeah, but here they are at 6-6. So, what do you guys think the Bears need to do to kind of get back toward that top part of the conference next year? Where do they need to improve?
Well, they definitely need to improve at quarterback. I mean, Blake Chapin, 10 interceptions, some really crucial fumbles. I don't think he's been nearly as good as they hoped he'd be. Yeah, even though it's his first year as a starter. But yeah, and they're going to have to replace pretty much both the offensive and defensive lines. The entire offensive line starters were seniors, super seniors mostly too.
One reason they had really high expectations.
Exactly. Yeah. And they're losing a lot of defensive linemen too. Apu, TJ Franklin. So yeah, they've got some serious replacements to do on both sides of the line. And they'll probably be picked like 8th next year, like they were last year.
They can be TCU.
That means they're winning.
Right. That's the key. Getting picked 7th or 8th.
Ced, what were you gonna say?
Blake, first of all, I gotta ask. I mean, because we're probably going to the Alamo Bowl. Are you guys going to see the Mouse at 6-6?
Well,
if you are you going to see
First got other goals.
First of all, if they go to Orlando or Phoenix, it's going to be Johnny by himself. I ain't going with him for a 6-6 team, but we have had a hashtag all year. You guys will appreciate this. It's called hashtag Rendezvous with Destiny, because we want to go to Memphis and go to Rendezvous and eat some ribs at the Liberty Bowl. And Baylor has not made the Liberty Bowl since '85. So we're hoping that maybe the Liberty Bowl will say, hey, let's take Baylor. But we, who knows? They'll probably end up 90 miles up the street. They'll be up at the Armed Forces First Responder Bowl or whatever that is. So,
well, I will say, while Baylor didn't reach its goal of repeating as Big 12 champs, we will have fulfilled one of our goals, me and Brice, if Baylor goes to the Liberty Bowl.
Yes.
You'll go to the Liberty Bowl, but you won't go see the mouse, Brice.
Well, I'm just, how it is. My buyout at the Trib ain't that big either.
Hey, Orlando picks right after the Alamo, and I'm all due respect to Baylor. They're too low in the pecking order.
I agree.
I'm expecting there's a chance if TCU really gets screwed, that Texas could end up in Orlando, but I'm looking for Texas Tech to probably go to Orlando and maybe play Mac Brown.
I think the buzz around Tech and Kansas and these other teams that are right there with Baylor is a little bit higher, whereas Baylor, they had these expectations, and their fan base is kind of like, meh. Are we gonna are we gonna really travel for 6-6? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I agree with J-Dub. Blake Shapen needed to be better this year. 16 touchdowns, 10 picks. That's not moving the needle in the Big 12, and they've got to get better in the passing game. They always have pretty good receivers, but they need to upgrade a quarterback. Speaking as someone who covers a team that had a really tough year at the quarterback position, you're not going to win in the Big 12 without good quarterbacking. You're not. And you look. K-State overcame injuries to get where they are, but TCU's not where they are without Max Duggan. They're not. And usually the best quarterback in the league is usually the one that's holding the crown in the Big 12 at the end of the season.
It's a great point, and I think one thing you could say about Max Duggan is the guy has some skins on the wall. He's got some experience, and while the expectation for Blake Shapen was really high because of what he did in that very small sample size last year, Big 12 championship game, he looked freaking great. And then now he's a first-time starter. It's his job. Gary Bohannon is gone. And Blake won the job in the spring. I mean, I don't really, blame the Baylor staff for crowning him the guy. I thought Dave Aranda did the right thing by doing it when he did, because he gave Gary Bohannon a chance to transfer out. But yeah, Shapen, it's been confounding because the kid has a lot of talent, but he's just erratic. I mean, he's really erratic, and he gets a little loose with his mechanics, and so we'll see if he can kind of develop and with experience get better. I think he's still got a pretty high ceiling. So we'll see.
He guaranteed the job next year, Brice?
That's a great question. They've got a kid out of Dripping Springs, Austin Novosad, who's one of the top, quarterback recruits. And I know a lot of Baylor fans are already talking him up, and they're ready to hand him the job. That's how bad they're feeling about Blake, but we'll see. We'll see.
Well, that's where the new offensive line has more pressure.
Yeah, the Drip's getting it done down here. They're still
the Drips.
That program's on the rise.
I taught John the word drip, Ced. He didn't know what drip was, and I'm sort of his hip consultant, which is sad because
you taught him the nickname for Dripping Springs drip?
No, I'm talking about if you got nice drip, you know what I'm saying? Ced doesn't even know. Oh my gosh. If you got nice drip, you got like nice fashion. That's what the kids would say.
I've heard
that. 40?
He's in his 40s.
I
You
know he
can't say
is.
that.
Barely,
I
barely.
know he is. That's why he's still cool.
He's got
He's
nice
fresh.
grip.
Yeah. Well, I also have teenagers that live in my house. So.
Oh, that
Oh,
was
yeah.
exciting.
I remember
That was
those.
exciting.
Yeah.
I remember those.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Dudes, it's been good. I hope y'all enjoy the Alamo Bowl. I know you're there a lot.
Danny
Second
Davis
home.
not happy. Danny Davis is not happy. RB writer.
Danny Davis wanted that Sugar Bowl.
You need to go to Longhorn Confidential.
Okay.
That was taped yesterday, and he went off on the Alamo Bowl at the end of that thing. I was like, wow. We thought we were going to give him a hook. He is not happy.
I saw some of his tweets about just how much he wanted to go to Sugar Bowl, but oh well.
He can still go. It's just going to cost a little bit more. He can go.
Our accountants like the Alamo Bowl.
Guys, thanks for hopping on with us for sure. Always good to see y'all.
It's been fun.
You too,
Stay
guys.
drilled. Stay
Always
drilled.
enjoy it.
Guys, stay
Awesome. See ya.